Good morning. I want to start today with something you've probably heard 100 times: drink water first thing in the morning. It's one of the healthiest habits you can have. And yes, in many cases, that's true. Hydration is essential. Water fuels every system in your body, from your brain to your heart to your digestion. But here's what most people never tell you: the way you drink water in the morning, especially after age 60, can quietly do more harm than good if you're not careful. Now, that may sound surprising. After all, it's just water. How could something so simple possibly be a problem? Well, let me explain, not as someone repeating internet advice, but as a doctor who has spent over 20 years caring for aging bodies, listening to concerns, reviewing blood work, and watching how tiny habits either build up health, or quietly chip away at it. You see, your body changes as you get older. Not in a dramatic, overnight way. But gradually. Subtly. A little less muscle strength. A little slower digestion. A little more sensitivity in your circulation. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Your body has been through decades of life. And now, it asks for a gentler kind of care. The mistake many people make is assuming what worked for them in their 30s or 40s will still work just fine in their 60s or 70s. That includes how you drink water. Especially in the first hour after waking, when your body is transitioning from deep rest to active movement. Think about this: when you sleep, your heart rate slows, your blood vessels narrow, your digestion takes a break. Your entire system shifts into a restorative mode. Then, you wake up. That transition period, the first few minutes of your day, is delicate. Your hormones are adjusting. Your blood pressure is climbing. Your brain is ramping up. And your stomach? Still asleep, more or less. Now imagine what happens when, right in that fragile window, you suddenly flood your body with cold water, or gulp down a full bottle in 10 seconds, or drink from an old plastic bottle left on your nightstand for days. These things don't seem like big deals, but when repeated daily, especially for seniors, they can make you feel off. Nauseated. Cold. Lightheaded. Bloated. Even anxious, without knowing why. That's what this video is about. Today, I want to walk you through the 5 most common, and potentially harmful, mistakes seniors make when drinking water in the morning. These are mistakes I've seen in my own patients, mistakes that often go unnoticed because water seems so innocent. But once we correct them, I've watched people regain energy, sleep better, and feel more stable from the very first hour of the day. By the end of this conversation, you'll know what to avoid, what to adjust, and how to make water a healing ritual again, instead of something that quietly drains you. Let's start with the first, and most common, mistake I see. One of the most important truths I've learned in 2 decades of medical practice is this: the body doesn't age all at once, it changes quietly, system by system. What worked perfectly fine at 35 might not sit well at 65, even if the change feels subtle at first. And that includes how your body handles water. Let me explain. When you were younger, your cardiovascular system was more elastic. Your blood vessels opened and contracted with ease. Your kidneys filtered efficiently. Your metabolism was faster. Your muscles held more water. Even your digestive system was more forgiving. But as we age, every organ becomes just a bit more sensitive. Your heart still pumps strong, but it's more reactive to sudden changes in blood volume or pressure. Your kidneys still filter well, but they don't adjust quite as quickly to large amounts of fluid, especially when the body is at rest. Your digestive system, particularly the lining of your stomach, becomes more prone to irritation from sudden volume or temperature shocks. And perhaps most importantly, your hormonal system, especially cortisol, insulin, and adrenaline, becomes more delicate. Even small disruptions can lead to exaggerated responses like nausea, anxiety, lightheadedness, or fatigue. That's why I always tell my older patients this: you're not fragile, you're refined. Like a classic car, your system needs more precise care to run smoothly. Not less fuel, but better timing. Not fewer habits, but wiser ones. And nowhere is this more true than in the first hour after you wake up. When you open your eyes in the morning, your body is still shifting from the rest and repair state into alert and active. Your blood pressure is lower. Your core temperature is still rising. Your brain is adjusting its neurotransmitters. Your stomach isn't ready for heavy work. This is why so many seniors tell me, "Doctor, I feel a little off in the mornings, but I can't put my finger on it." They'll describe dizziness, a little bloating, a chill they can't shake, or a sudden wave of fatigue, often right after they do what they tea is the right. Boo. Water is not new. The way you consume. Imagine yo. That's. Or imagi. S. But we must learn to work with the AG. That's what this video is here to give you, the awareness you need to make water work for you. Let's. Drinking ice-cold water. Let me. Have you ever taken a big gulp of cold water first thing in the morning, and suddenly felt a tightness in your stomach? Maybe a slight chill down your chest. Some people even feel lightheaded or oddly anxious. And most of the time, they just shrug it off, they don't connect tea. But as a doctor, I've seen this pattern again and again. And it usually comes down tea. Drinking ice cold. Now, to be fair, cold water can feel refreshing, especially when you're younger. It jolts the system awake. It can even feel energizing. But after the age of 60, the body's response to temperature extremes becomes very different. Here's why. When you're sleeping, your entire system slows down. Your blood vessels constrict slightly, your core temperature drops, and your digestion goes into rest mode. Your body is in a healing state, focused on cellular repair and hormonal balance. Then the morning comes, and before your internal systems have fully adjusted, you flood your gut with something near freezing. That sudden temperature shock causes your stomach muscles to contract. Your blood vessels constrict even more. Your nervous system goes on high alert, triggering a chain reaction that can leave you feeling worse, not better. Some people experience cramping, others feel nauseous, and many report a kind of general unease or coldness that lingers for hours. Not because water is bad, but because your system wasn't ready for that kind of shock. Let me tell you about Eleanor. Eleanor is 76. Bright mind, sharp sense of humor, the kind of person who always has a book in her bag and a clever observation on her lips. For decades, she drank a glass of cold water every morning. Right out of the fridge. She swore it cleared her throat and got her going. But over the last couple of years, she started noticing some odd things. Her hands felt cold all morning. Her stomach would tighten, especially after breakfast. Some days, her digestion just stalled. She chalked it up to aging. Nothing serious, just a little discomfort. Then, during a routine checkup, we started talking about her morning routine. I asked about hydration, how, when, and what temperature. She told me about the cold water. I suggested a small change, leave the glass out overnight. Try room temperature instead. Nothing drastic. Within a week, she called me. She said, "Doctor, I don't know if it's in my head, but I feel calmer in the morning. No cramps. No weird chills. I even feel a little more awake, without the sudden jolt I used to get." It wasn't in her head. That small change gave her body a gentler start to the day, something all of us need more of, especially as we age. So here's the bottom line. Your body doesn't want to be shocked awake. It wants to be invited. And that includes how you hydrate. Room temperature water, or even slightly warm water, eases the transition. It signals to your stomach, "I'm here to help, not overwhelm." It allows your digestion to come online gradually. It supports better circulation instead of constricting it. And over time, that gentler start can make a profound difference. Fewer stomach upsets. Better bathroom habits. More stable energy levels. A calmer, steadier feeling that carries into the rest of your day. Now, this doesn't mean you can never drink cold water again. If it's a hot day and you've been active, your body may even appreciate it. But right after waking, when your systems are still fragile, it's best to avoid extremes. Let your water meet your body where it is, cool, calm, and waking up. Here's what I recommend. Keep a glass of water next to your bed overnight, in a covered container. Or fill your glass in the morning with room temperature filtered water, not from the fridge. If you like, you can even warm it slightly, just lukewarm, not hot. Sip it slowly, over 10 to 15 minutes. Let your body ease into the day. Try this for a week. Pay attention to how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally. Many of my patients tell me they feel more centered, less rushed, and even sleep better when their mornings begin with gentleness. Remember, water is powerful. It can be medicine. But only when it respects the rhythm of the body. So tomorrow morning, skip the ice. Choose warmth. Choose ease. Your body will thank you for it. Now, let's talk about the next mistake, one that's just as common and just as overlooked. Drinking too fast, or in big gulps. Let me paint a familiar picture. You wake up. Your mouth feels dry. You reach for a glass of water, maybe the one by your bedside, and without thinking, you chug the whole thing. Done in a matter of seconds. You feel accomplished. Hydrated. Ready to move on with your day. But then, a few minutes later, something feels off. A flutter in your chest. A bit of dizziness. Maybe some bloating, or even nausea. You wonder, did I stand up too quickly? Did I forget to eat? But rarely do people stop to ask, did I drink that water too fast? Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just water. Isn't fast better than none at all? Actually, no. Not when it comes to the first water of the day. Especially if you're over 60. When your body is just waking up, it's transitioning between two very different states. Your heart rate is still low. Your blood pressure is slowly rising. Your stomach hasn't fully activated its enzymes. Your kidneys, which play a major role in fluid balance, are still regulating your overnight filtering. Then suddenly, in one long gulp, you flood the system. Your stomach expands too fast. Your blood volume increases too quickly. Your kidneys get signal to flush it all out. And your nervous system? It gets confused. The result? Dizziness. Stomach upset. A weird flutter in your chest. A sense of unease that lasts for hours. I want to tell you about someone who lived this exact pattern. Walter, a 72-year-old retired high school football coach, came to see me one day with a simple complaint. He said, "Doc, some mornings I feel lightheaded for no reason. It passes quickly, but I don't like it." We went through the usual suspects: blood sugar, medications, sleep. Everything looked normal. Then I asked, "Walk me through your morning." He said, "Well, I wake up, grab my water bottle, and drink the whole thing before I even get out of bed. I figured it was good for flushing the system." There it was. Walter thought he was being disciplined. In truth, he was overwhelming his body before it was ready. I asked him to try something different. Instead of chugging the whole bottle, I told him to sip slowly over 15 to 20 minutes. Sit up, breathe, take small sips. Give his body time to adjust. 2 weeks later, he came back smiling. No more dizziness. I feel even more energized. And, he laughed, I don't have to run to the bathroom every 20 minutes either. That's the power of mindful hydration. You see, your body doesn't want a flood. It wants a stream. especially first thing in the morning. Here's what's happening under the surface. When you drink too quickly, your stomach fills rapidly, triggering stretch receptors that send mixed signals to your brain. Your kidneys go into overdrive, trying to regulate fluid balance all at once. Your electrolyte levels shift abruptly, which can affect everything from energy to focus to mood. And all of this happens before breakfast, before coffee, before your day has even started. This isn't just about comfort. It's about supporting your body's systems in a way that respects their pace, not forcing them to catch up. So here's what I recommend. Start your morning sitting upright. Have a glass of room temperature water nearby. Instead of drinking it all at once, sip it slowly over 10 to 20 minutes. Let each sip settle before the next. Think of this as a ritual of care, not a chore. You're not trying to get hydration out of the way, you're trying to ease your body into the day. If you've been feeling off in the mornings, even slightly, try this. Slow down your water. Pay attention to your body. You might be amazed by the difference such a simple shift can make. Because sometimes, the problem isn't what you're doing. It's how you're doing it. And that brings us to the next common mistake, one you may never have considered before. Drinking from plastic bottles that sit out overnight. There's a habit I see often in my patients, and it usually starts with good intentions. You want to stay hydrated, so you fill up a plastic water bottle, place it by your bedside, and make sure it's the first thing you drink when you wake up. Seems like a smart habit, right? Convenient. Thoughtful. Consistent. But here's what most people don't realize, especially as they get older. Drinking from plastic bottles that have been left out overnight, especially in a warm room, can slowly introduce harmful chemicals into your system. And over time, those tiny exposures can add up. Let me explain why this happens, and what it can do to your body. Plastic bottles, especially those not specifically made for repeated use, often contain substances like BPA, short for bisphenol A, or similar compounds that act as endocrine disruptors. That means they can interfere with your hormonal system, mimicking or blocking your natural hormones like estrogen, testosterone, and thyroid hormones. Now, you might be thinking, but my bottle says BPA-free. And that's good. It's a step in the right direction. But what most people don't know is that even BPA-free plastics can contain BPS, BPF, and other chemical variants that behave similarly in the body once heat or time gets involved. And here's the real problem: the older we get, the more sensitive our hormonal systems become. Maybe you're already taking medication for thyroid health, or managing blood sugar, or keeping blood pressure under control. Even small hormonal disruptions, repeated over days and weeks, can make everything a little harder to regulate. You might notice changes in energy, mood, digestion, or sleep and not know where it's coming from. Let me tell you about Stanley. Stanley is 78. Disciplined. Organized. Always had his routines dialed in. Every night before bed, he'd fill up a plastic water bottle from the tap, place it next to his reading lamp, and drink from it as soon as he woke up. He thought it was a healthy habit. And in many ways, it was. But then things started to shift. He was waking up with headaches. Feeling tired even after a full night's sleep. His digestion felt sluggish. And he was more irritable than usual. His diet hadn't changed. His blood work looked mostly fine. But something was off. During our consultation, I asked him about water. Specifically, how he stored it, what he used to drink it, and whether that bottle was new each day. He looked surprised. I use the same plastic bottle. I refill it every night. It just sits on the nightstand, right next to his warm bedside lamp. That small detail, a reused plastic bottle sitting in warmth overnight, turned out to be the key. I recommended he switch to a glass bottle or a stainless steel thermos, something designed for repeated use. And instead of reusing water from the night before, I asked him to pour fresh water each morning. It felt unnecessary to him at first. But he gave it a try. And within 2 weeks, the headaches eased. His digestion improved. His sleep felt deeper. His energy came back. Now, was plastic the only reason? Probably not. But for Stanley, that consistent exposure was one of the missing pieces. And removing it made a measurable difference in how he felt. Here's the science behind it. Plastics degrade with heat and time. The longer water sits in contact with plastic, especially in a warm environment, the more likely it is to absorb trace chemicals. Endocrine disruptors interfere with how your body regulates metabolism, sleep, stress, and even immune response. As we age, the cumulative effect of these small exposures matters more than ever. Your liver and kidneys work hard enough. They don't need to detox unnecessary chemicals every morning. So, what can you do? Here are my simple recommendations. Replace plastic with glass or stainless steel containers for your bedside water. Avoid reusing old water. Pour a fresh glass each morning. Keep water away from direct heat sources like lamps or windows. If you prefer cold or filtered water, store it in the fridge, then let it sit for a few minutes before drinking. These are small adjustments. But they carry big health dividends over time. Because remember, health isn't just about the major choices. It's also about the quiet, daily habits that either support your body or slowly wear it down. Your body has carried you through decades of life. The least we can do is offer it water that's safe, clean, and respectful of its changing needs. So, tomorrow morning, take a look at what's beside your bed. If it's a plastic bottle, especially an old one, maybe it's time for an upgrade. Not just for your water, but for your health. Next, we'll talk about another habit that seems innocent, but can interfere with how your body processes medication, and even how you feel for the rest of the morning. Mistake number 4, drinking too much water right after taking medication. Let's talk about a routine that seems completely harmless, even responsible. You wake up. You take your medication, just like your doctor told you to. And you follow it with a full glass of water. Maybe even 2. But not long after, you feel a little off. Nauseated. Bloated. Or strangely foggy-headed. You might chalk it up to side effects. Or age. Or maybe just a bad morning. But what if the issue wasn't the medication itself? What if it was how and when you took it? This is something I see again and again in older adults, especially those managing multiple prescriptions. They do everything right, but still don't feel quite right. And often, the culprit is this. Drinking too much water too fast, especially on a very full or very empty stomach, immediately after medication. Here's why that matters. First, let's look at what's happening inside your body. When you take a pill, whether it's for blood pressure, thyroid, arthritis, or anything else, it enters your stomach and starts dissolving. That's normal. But your stomach lining is incredibly sensitive, especially in the morning when it's been empty for hours. If you follow your pill with a large volume of water, say 12 to 16 ounces all at once, the combination of medication, acid, and sudden fluid can irritate the lining of the stomach. This can lead to nausea, acid reflux, a sense of fullness, even mild stomach pain or bloating. Now, flip the situation. Suppose you take your medication after a full breakfast, toast, eggs, fruit, and wash it down with a big glass of water. That might seem safer, but it can also backfire. Especially with medications that are meant to be taken on an empty stomach, like thyroid meds or certain osteoporosis treatments. In this case, the pill may not be absorbed properly. It might compete with food for uptake, or bind to minerals like calcium or iron, which reduces its effectiveness. So here's the key takeaway. It's not just what medication you take, it's when, with how much water, and in what stomach state. Let me share a real story. Margaret is 80. Smart, organized, and has been taking thyroid medication for over 15 years. Every morning, like clockwork, she'd wake up, take her pill, drink a full glass of water, then wait 30 minutes before eating. She'd never had a problem. But this past year, she started feeling queasy in the mornings. A strange, low-level nausea. Sometimes bloating. She thought maybe her dosage needed adjusting. But her blood work looked fine. So we took a closer look at her routine. And there it was, the full glass of water, too much, too fast, too soon after waking up, combined with the sensitivity of her empty stomach. I suggested she try something different. Instead of a full glass, I told her to take her pill with just a few sips of room-temperature water, just enough to swallow it comfortably. Then wait 45 to 60 minutes before breakfast, as she always had. She was skeptical. But she tried it. And within a few days, the nausea disappeared. Her mornings felt smoother. More stable. And she didn't need to change her prescription, just her approach. Sometimes, it's not about doing something radically different. It's about doing something a little more gently. So here are my general guidelines, and of course, always follow your specific doctor's instructions. Take medication with small sips, not a flood of water. Use room temperature water, not cold. Give your body time, at least 30 to 60 minutes, before eating if your medication requires it. Avoid pairing pills with large meals, unless instructed. Food can interfere with absorption. If you're taking multiple medications, ask your pharmacist or doctor whether they should be spaced out or taken together. And one more thing, if you ever feel like your medication isn't working as well as it used to, or if side effects show up unexpectedly, don't assume it's just getting older. Sometimes the solution isn't a new pill. It's a small tweak in the way you hydrate. Water is essential to help the body absorb and process medication, but only when delivered thoughtfully. Not in a rush. Not in excess. And not in a way that overwhelms the very system you're trying to support. So tomorrow morning, take a pause before that big gulp. Think about what your stomach is ready for. Let the water help your medication, not interfere with it. And now, let's move to the final mistake, one that's becoming more common, especially among health-conscious seniors. Skipping breakfast and replacing it with just water. In recent years, there's been a lot of talk about fasting, especially intermittent fasting. You've probably heard it too. Skip BR. Now, that advice might work for some people, especially younger, active adults who are following specific way. But if you're over 60, and especially if you're over 70, skipping breakfast and relying only on water in the morning may be quietly draining you. Let's tell. When you sleep, your body goes without food for 7 to 10 hours, sometimes longer. That's already a fast. During that time, your blood sugar glycogen stores D, and by morning, your body is expecting gentle nourishment. Not a feast. Not caffeine. But something simple, something to reawaken your metabolism, stabilize your blood sugar, and support your energy systems. If, instead, you drink a glass of water, and nothing else, and try to push through until lunch, here's W. Your blood sugar stays low. Your brain runs on fumes. Your muscles, especially if you're already losing mass with age, remain underfueled. And your nervous system, already more sensitive as we age, may trigger symptoms like fatigue, mood swings, brain fog, shakiness, or even anxiety. And here's the trickiest part. Most people don't connect those symptoms with skipping breakfast. They assume it's poor sleep. Or stress. Or just aging. But in many cases, the body is simply underfed, and asking for support. Let me share the story of Alice. Alice is 69, fiercely independent, and always trying to do what's right for her health. She started intermittent fasting after reading a few articles online and decided to simplify her mornings, just water until noon, maybe a little coffee if needed. At first, she lost a few pounds. She felt lighter. She thought it was working. But then, her daughter started noticing something different. Alice seemed more forgetful. She repeated herself in conversations. She looked pale some mornings and would get tired walking short distances, something she never struggled with before. Worried, they came in for a visit. Her labs were unremarkable. No thyroid issues. No anemia. No major red flags. So we talked about her routine. And when she told me about skipping breakfast and drinking only water, the answer became clear. Her brain, her muscles, and her metabolism were all trying to function, without fuel. I recommended a very simple change. No heavy breakfast. No complicated recipes. Just something to give her body a foundation. A boiled egg. A slice of whole grain toast. A handful of nuts. Some fruit. A small smoothie. Within a week, her mood lifted. Her energy returned. The mental fog disappeared. She came back to my office and said something I'll never forget. I didn't realize how much I was missing, until I started eating again. And that's the message I want to share with you. Water is essential. But it is not nourishment. Water helps hydrate your cells, support detoxification, and regulate temperature. But it doesn't carry protein. Or healthy fats. Or glucose, the brain's preferred fuel. So if you've been skipping breakfast and relying on water alone, thinking it's a healthier choice, I invite you to reconsider. Especially if you've noticed sluggishness in the morning. Poor memory. Shakiness before lunch. Increased irritability. A drop in physical stamina. Try adding a small, balanced breakfast. Not a buffet. Just something whole. Something real. Something your body recognizes as fuel. You don't have to eat the moment you wake up. Let your body ease in. But aim to eat within the first 1 to 2 hours of the day. Pair your water with something nourishing. Here are some easy, senior-friendly options. Oatmeal with chopped nuts and fruit. Half an avocado on toast. Greek yogurt with berries. A scrambled egg with vegetables. A protein-rich smoothie with almond milk and banana. These are gentle on the stomach, kind to blood sugar, and supportive of your aging muscles and brain. Because after 60, the goal isn't fasting. It's fueling. It's protecting. It's preserving your strength, clarity, and vitality. So tomorrow morning, when you reach for that glass of water, ask yourself, what else can I give my body today? It doesn't have to be big. But it does have to be enough. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this conversation, small changes can lead to powerful results, especially as we get. Your body is not broken. It's not failing you. It's simgent. Water is one of life's most basic needs. It nourishes us. Cl. But how we give it to our bodies, especially in the first hour of the day. Let's review what we've learned. Mistake number 1. Mistake, chugging. Mistake number 3, drinking from plastic bottles left overnight exposes you to hormone-disrupting chemicals. Use glass or stainless steel. Keep it fresh. Mistake number 4, drinking too much water immediately after medication can cause nausea or reduce absorption. Small sips are enough. Mistake number 5, skipping breakfast and drinking only water can lead to fatigue, brain fog, and weakness. Give your body something real, something nourishing. These aren't rigid rules. They're invitations. Invitations to tune in, to slow down, and to respect your body's rhythm, the one it has earned over years of living. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just try one small shift. Then another. Switch to room temperature water. Sip instead of gulping. Add a simple breakfast. Swap out your plastic bottle. Adjust your routine around your medication. Then observe how you feel. Not just physically, but mentally. Emotionally. Energetically. Your body is always speaking to you. All it asks is that you listen. So tomorrow morning, take a breath. Take a sip. Take care of yourself, not with urgency, but with intention. Because you deserve to feel clear, calm, and strong, at every age. And remember, it's never too late to take better care of yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message spoke to you, I encourage you to share it with someone you care about, a friend, a sibling, a neighbor. You never know who might be struggling with the same quiet symptoms. And if you'd like to keep learning, growing, and feeling your best in this next chapter of life, I hope you'll join me again. Because your comfort matters. Your health matters. And you matter. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.